What's up and welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Jango Fett Starship. This set was given set number 75433. It has 707 pieces as well as 3 minifigures. It released on August 1st of 2025 with a retail of $69.99. As we look toward the back of the box, we can see a small scene of Kamino with our minifigures being Jango Fett, Boba Fett, and Llama Su, as well as a couple of play features featured throughout the build. And now as we move on to take a look at our minifigures being Llama Su, Jango Fett, as well as Boba Fett. And starting off with our Boba Fett being the main figure of this set, he is looking very good. A new and updated version from the previous one that we saw, and the same exact version from the UCS version, just minus the printing on the arms. But there's definitely some great detailing on here. I definitely do love the new printing design for the helmet. It really pops against the silver coloring. And then as for the torso and the gunmetal gray kind of coloring, does look very good with the brown belt as well. Just adds a good amount of contrast and is very accurate toward the source material. And even the legs have some great detailing from the holsters on either side and having the armor printing all over from the toes to the knees to even the upper kind of legs. I think it looks great, and even on the hip piece, and it really transitions very well into the torso piece. Now he is equipped with the same dual pistols that we have seen him equipped with many times in the past, and I will say he does look pretty bare from the side as well as flipping along to the back. Not much detailing. We do have the jetpack and the little bit of printing that is underneath. Now he does make use of the brand new rangefinder piece, which I think looks amazing and definitely works very well for the Jango Fett. It lays perfectly in height for the minifigure as well as having a great shape and proportion, and I'm very happy that they changed this because it looks a lot better than the older one. Now as we remove the helmet, we are actually included a hairpiece in this set, and you can see the face underneath, which has some very nice printing with the stubbled beard as well as having that overall kind of clone-like face. And I do think we do have our two options here for the face. We have this kind of calm, kind of chill look, and then as we flip it around, we have more of an angry or upset look. Personally, I think that the second is definitely the better one, showing a bit more emotion, but both faces are a great inclusion. And while I definitely do think that this Jango Fett is a great minifigure, when compared to the version from the UCS set, it is definitely lacking in the arm printing department. And well, the argument is very 50-50 on if, expensive minifigures should be exclusive to the UCS sets or not. I do think that if this minifigure had the printed arms, it would be perfect, but it's definitely something that is lacking. Our next minifigure is the young Boba Fett, the exact same version that we saw in the UCS Slave 1, and this being a pretty controversial minifigure. Not many people are fans of this, especially with the very awkward hair piece, as well as having a couple of inaccuracies. Even the actor came out at some point and, said that it was not a good minifigure, which is kind of funny to see. But as we flip around the face, we can see the alternate face print, and then on the back, you can see, the other side of the hair, as well as the little bit of printing that we get on the back. And overall, this is just kind of a disappointing minifigure. And lastly, we have probably the coolest minifigure from this set being our Llama Su, the first appearance that they have ever made in a Lego set. And this guy just looks amazing with the very unique head mold for the actual head and neck piece, which does look very good. It has some great printing on it as well. And I think that it just turned out great from Lego, very well executed. And then as we move on to the torso printing for this minifigure, has a lot of detailing. I especially love the purple highlights, definitely does wonders for this minifigure and adds a lot more pop and contrast than what we would have had otherwise. And then having the whole of the torso print just has so much different detailing on the top as well as the middle, and it seamlessly transitions down to the skirt piece, which does look amazing once again with those purple highlights and having a lot of detailing. And then as we look toward the back of the actual head is where you can really appreciate the molding and detailing that went into this with these spikes as well as the neck piece. Just looks amazing. And then for the back printing is overall very well done and looks great. And I have to say that this is my favorite of the 3 minifigures in this set. So much detailing, looks amazing, and I'm very happy that we finally got a Lego version of Llama Su. And now as we move on to the build for the Slave 1 itself, I have to say, given the small and downsized nature, Lego is still able to capture a pretty nice, sleek, and detailed design. Now, I think that the overall shaping was done great, and we have a couple of stickers to highlight the actual detailing throughout, which I know a lot of people aren't big fans of stickers. I am also not one myself, but I think they add quite a bit of detail. And as we move to the side, you can see all the different techniques, slopes, and detailing that Lego used and able to get the overall shape of this set. And I think the coloring was also balanced very well. Now, as we move on to the gun section, this is probably the most disappointing part of this build. Now, what we have seen previously is, some nice movable weapons, but unfortunately, we have some stud shooters that are stuck in place. And while they do add the fun playability of shooting them off, Other than that, they really don't look too good in my opinion, and they're not posable at all. They are stuck in this fixed position, and I don't think it looks too good. Now, our next play feature comes into the loading bay area, which is definitely very small, but it does hold a very fun play feature, which are these seismic charges in the small hole below. And well, the seismic charge is definitely a very iconic part of the Slave 1, and this feature is also a lot of fun, as there's a small trapdoor that once you push it down, it will fire off both of your seismic charges. And these seismic charges are just these small little gray head pieces with two trans clear yellow pieces on either side. It definitely is a very fun play feature, and they do look very fun and very similar to the seismic charge, just in a very downsized nature. And they're very easy to load back in, going right below the trapdoor in the loading bay. And then once they're in there, you can close it right back up. And when you go to look toward the actual trapdoor, it's integrated seamlessly into the back. You can see these small little clips, but it doesn't really stand out at all. And to fire it off, you just click right down on it and it will release through the clip. Now the trapdoor is, very well integrated in there. Like I said, you can't really see it. And then when you do open it up, you have the small hole where your seismic charges are held. And it's a very fun play feature. And the seismic charge is definitely a must-have when it comes to Jango Fett Slave 1 or Jango Fett Starship. Next, as we move into our cockpit area, a spot that is, very small and definitely a hard thing to accomplish with a set of this size, but I think LEGO actually did a great job. And while it doesn't look very spacious right now, there's actually quite a lot of room, and you can actually fit both of your minifigures in your Boba as well as your Jango Fett. Your Boba Fett stands on this little plate and he can slate back there. He doesn't stand on any stud, he is kind of just free back there, but once he is, he's held in place by the Jango Fett that sits down on those four studs, and you can actually close the cockpit behind them. And I was so surprised to see when you could actually fit both of your minifigures in the cockpit. There is a small little lip at the bottom where you can see Jango's legs sticking out, but it is not too bad. And I was very happy that you could actually fit both of the minifigures in here, and it's definitely a big improvement compared to the 2021 version of Boba Fett Slave 1. Now, flipping this ship around to the back, you can see that there is quite a lot of detailing, especially with the thrusters. We have, these nice trans yellow pieces mounted on top of either black or brown bricks to show that off, but more importantly, we have the small display stand, which doubles as a little bit of a cargo cart. And it works very well to hold this up, clipping into the back, kind of just free holds it, but it does hold it pretty straight. And let's take a closer look at this cart. Now, this cart has a very simple design, but it definitely does look pretty good. It is pretty sleek. You have a small area with a little crate in the back, which you can pop out, as well as, this whole back area being able to move up to actually hold your ship in place. And you even have a small little cockpit or driver area where Jango Fett can sit down and drive the actual cart itself. And how this clips into place, you just simply raise up your back, and you have these small little area right here with these studs, which lines up right on the back or front of the ship, and then you can lean it against the actual arm and it will hold it up just fine. And this is actually pretty sturdy. Something that was done poorly in the 2021 version of Boba Fett's Starship was that it fell over easily and the ladder piece was not too strong, but this definitely looks a bit stronger. Now, as we move on to the independent wing feature, something that we have seen in all of our Slave 1s, and it's something that I think was not done as well as it could have been for this set. For me, the wings are very tight. Now, maybe I constructed this a little bit wrong, but from what I've seen, I took it apart and I rebuilt it because it was a problem I had earlier. They do still move independently. It's just not as extreme as some of the other sets. It is a very fun feature though, and I love the gravity assistance on those where you don't actually have to touch them. And it is a very strong model. That's something that we definitely see with these more downsized sets, is that they're very structurally sound. Maybe that's a good thing. Just don't hold them from the wings or else they will pop off. But it is a very strong set. Other than that, you can pretty much hold it from wherever you want and it's not going anywhere. But where you're actually supposed to hold this is going to be on the back in the small little bar, which does allow you to get a very good grip as well as being balanced and allowing you to swoosh this set around however you would like. Definitely is very strong. It's in there with Technic, so it's not going anywhere. And overall, it's just a very sturdy build. Now, I think that this is a very good set. I think that there is a lot going for it. It has a couple of fun play features. It does look very good minus the stud shooters, and the minifigures are very good with that Jango Fett and the Lama Su. The Boba Fett definitely does leave some to be desired. But I do think coming in at a $70 retail in the US is a little bit on the pricier side. Now, we haven't seen a Slave 1 since all the way back in 2002 in play scale, and I do have a comparison of all three of our Slave 1s in 2002, the UCS as well as this one, so check that out if you haven't already after this video. But it is a very fun set. I just do not think that it has the value when it comes to a $70 price tag. And when it comes to the August 1st LEGO Star Wars sets, that is the case for a lot of them. Now, this one isn't the biggest culprit. There are definitely some others that are a lot more overpriced in comparison, but I do think that you'd be better off waiting to buy the set until it goes on sale at least 20% off. But like I said, I think it is a very fun set. It does look very good. It's definitely a good alternative when it comes to the $300 UCS set being a lot cheaper, and it does have those great minifigures, the llama suit being the highlight of this set in my opinion, and overall I think it is a solid set. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below in the comments, if it's one that you picked up or plan on picking up, or if it's one that you are going to pass on. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Drew signing out. Click the video on the screen if you want to see how this set fares against the other two versions of Jango Fett's Slave 1.